million ladies will catch your eye by the light of a million stars and the evening sky. My Rio, Rio by the Sea, flying down to Rio where there's rhythm and rhyme. Hey, fella, spin that old propeller. Got to get to Rio and we've got to make time. You'll love it, soaring high above it, looking down on Rio from a heaven of blue. Sending radio to Rio de Janeiro with a big L.O., so just they'll know they'll stand by there, Hey Rio, everything will be okay. We're singing our winging our way to you. We're singing our winging our way to you. We're singing and winging our way to you. Wow! Good evening. Welcome to Art Nordoff Live. This is our Flying Down to Rio show. Now that song is from 1933. It's the title song to the movie of the same name, the RKO movie. That movie, Flying Down to Rio, was the first teaming of Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. And now Fred Astaire sings that song in the movie. I was gonna tap dance, but I have neighbors. So welcome. As many of you know that I did go on a South American adventure to Rio de Janeiro for a couple of weeks. It's just the most amazing place. If you ever get a chance to go. It's just, there's something about Rio. First of all, it's beautiful, and there's an energy about Rio you don't find in a lot of cities. And the people are just so warm and kind. And there's also music. Music blares. If you're sitting on Copacabana in a restaurant, every restaurant is blaring up Portuguese music and American. There is a sound to Brazil. American music is more up and down and straightforward, where Brazilian music kind of goes side to side, like on this old classic. Tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes, each one she passes goes, ah. When she walks, it's like a samba. She seems so cool and sways so gentle, and when she passes, each one she passes goes, ah. Oh, can I tell her I love her? How can I tell her I love her? Yes, I would give my heart gladly, but each day when she walks to the sea, she looks sweeter and not at me. I said warm and tan and tall and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes I smile, but she doesn't see. She doesn't see. Take it, Jason. she just doesn't see. Whoa! That, it's just, it really is like that. It sounds like that down there. Now, when I was down there, I said, I'm going to put together this South American, Caribbean, Latin kind of show. And then it dawned on me that I'd already written a kind of calypso Latin song. And it was the first song I ever wrote with my first original songwriter, Joe Lovener. And it was a little kind of novelty song, and it was called Dummbo. Now, with two M's. It was written over 40 years ago. And even 40 years ago, I knew Disney would kick the crap out of me in court. So, but the original title of this song is Dummbo, a tribute to Desi Arnaz. And so, from the first time being performed in, I guess, over 40 years, ladies and gentlemen, the Nordoff and Lumner classic, Dummbo. People read for dreams. It's as simple as ABC. You can't let people stand in your way if you want to find ecstasy. Because people will sometimes doubt what you say, but they always believe what you do. People, they're gonna doubt what you say, but they always believe what you do. And they all say, Dummbo, 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 say, Dummbo, 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 singing Dummbo, Dummbo, day. Oh yeah, I'm going to make it see someday. That's the way it's got to be. Everyone I know says I have no chance, and furthermore, they think I'm crazy. But people will sometimes doubt what you say, but they'll always believe what you do. I said, people, they're gonna doubt what you say, but they'll always believe what you do. And they all sing, I hear them all sing, yes, they all sing, Dummbo, 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 Dummbo day. Dummbo, 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 singing Dummbo, Dummbo day. One more time, people, they're gonna die what you say, but they always believe what you do. I said, people, they're gonna die what you say, but they always believe what you do. And they all sing. Dummbo, 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 Dummbo day. Dummbo, 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 singing Dummbo, Dummbo day. Ay, 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 people, I got a Dummbo, Dummbo, singing Dummbo, Dummbo, Dummbo day. Dummbo, 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 singing Dummbo, 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 Dummbo day. Baba. Desi Arnaz may be gone, but his not forgotten. Yes, getting a little warm. Costume change. There we go. Now, you know, I think the hat looks better on him.
I think you're right.
Now that's Charlie. Now Charlie and I have been together for 47 years. I bought him at the Cal State University Northridge bookstore in 1974. And we've been playing together since my first triumphant showcase at the world famous Doug Weston's Troubadour. And we've been, it was our first big showcase, and it was a great show, but Little Bastard got better reviews. And but we've worked through that. When I was in Rio, there's a radio station that plays, weirdly, all these American soft pop rock hits from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, intertwined with Portuguese songs. And when I got to Rio, and we were driving up to where I was staying in Maracá, this song came on the radio, and I said, I remember this song. And Then on the radio in the car, it said it was named by James Blunt. I went, who the hell is James Blunt? I remember the song, I never remember him. And it turns out that they used to play this song all the time in Brazil. Not only that, this song was the only one I think was released in the United States. He's got like 7 songs that they play. He's a big star in Rio. So this song will always remind me of Rio. My life's brilliant, my love is pure. I saw an angel, oh that I'm sure. There was probably somewhere she was with another man, but I won't lose any sleep tonight. I got a plan. You're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, yes. I saw your face in a crowded place, and I don't know what to do, 'cause I'll never be with you. Yes, you caught my eye as I walked by. You could see from my face that I was flying high, and I don't know if when I'll see her again, but we shared a moment that'll last till the end of. You're beautiful, you are beautiful, yes. I don't her face in a crowded place, but I don't know what to do, 'cause I'll never be with you. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. But it's time to face the truth. I will never be with you. I don't know why I'm pushing James Blunt's career. No, you're allowed to speak, Jason. You're not a mute. That song will always remind me of Rio. And so when I went to Rio, I had this idea of this show and writing a song when I was in Rio. And it came to me very quickly, because one thing you notice in Rio is that, unlike the United States, everyone is a different color. Every person is a different shade. You have the indigenous people, the black slaves, and the European Portuguese, who have been commingling for only 400 years. So no one is the same color. They don't see color. They don't look at the color of your skin. They watch the character of your soul. I could say it in well, that's how they explained it. There's a saying in Portuguese. And so I was, the first Saturday night I was in Rio, I was listening, because you hear all the Brazilian music playing, and I wrote this song. It's brand new, so this is a world premiere. It's called Land of Many Colors. Sparkle breezes where nobody freezes well into the night. People are dancing while they're romancing. It's love at first sight. Making arrangements for all their engagements under the sun. Hearts beat together forever and ever. We've only begun. In the land of many colors, children are is equal underneath his law. In the land of America, shades from black to white, shining down from heaven to everyone delight. Tonight, we watching the changes and all the arrangements. We'll just take it back to the second verse. Here we go. Watching the changes and all the rearrangements, let it all go. There's love in the air, so why should we care? The world has to know. Walking the beaches, as far as it reaches, the moon hits the sea. Stars may be shining, just to remind me to let my soul free. In the land of many colors, feeling of our God. With love is equal underneath his law. In the land of many colors, shades from black to white, shining down from heaven to everyone's delight. Rainy nights in Rio, how could it go wrong when all of the people are saying you belong? In the land of many colors, children of our God, everyone is equal underneath his law. It's interesting, the only lyrics I screwed up are the ones I wrote. It's an old habit. So, well, I'm a little winded here. I don't think you can do a show about Brazil without acknowledging probably the biggest pop group to emerge from Brazil.
The Beatles.
It's the Beatles. It was Sergio Mendes. So
you're not familiar with Juan Lennon and Pablo McCartney?
Oh yes, they were big hits. Yes, yes. And you know they're still being played down in Rio. They're still making money.
Los Beatles.
So there are really two big Sergio Mendes hits. One's in Portuguese, and then there's this one. I thought well, you've seen I've screwed up all the English. Could you imagine me butchering See, if at least I butchered Portuguese, no one would have known. But this is their big hit. I think first in the United States, it's the Beatles.
Los Beatles.
It's Los Beatles. Fool on the Hills. I don't think it's Fool on the Hills. Day after day, I've gone on a hill. The man with the foolish grin is keeping perfectly still. Each voice seems to know him, and they can see he's just a fool. But he'll never give an answer, but the fool on the hill. See the sun going down, see the eyes in his head, see the world voices talking perfectly loud, but nobody ever hears him or the sound he appears to make. And he never seems to notice, but the fool is on the hill. See the sun going down, see the eyes in his head, see the world spinning round. And nobody seems to like him, they can tell that he wants to do. And they never notice, but the fool is on the hill. See the sun going down, see the eyes in his head, see the world spinning round, spinning round, spinning round. You know Sergio's is still alive? Hard to imagine, isn't it? I'm going to sit down. I think I need a break. All right. This over here. Holy shit. Well, but I had so many adventures. It's just, I actually wasn't in Rio. I spent really most of the time in a little small town, 40 miles north, right on the Atlantic Ocean, called Marica. And I always told them, you know, if you put an A in front of it, it's called America. None of the people in Marica got it. I was very young. You know, my comedy doesn't translate well into Portuguese, I suppose. Anyway, I decided to do this song. Because earlier we did Dummbo, but that was the first Nordoff and Lumner song. I'm going to do this song. This is the last Nordoff and Lumner song. There's a little story to it. We had been together about 4 years. We had bands, we played all over town. And there was beginning to be tension between us. I had a girlfriend problem. His girlfriend hated my guts. So there was tension there, and she was at rehearsals, but we finally got the SIR, and we hired 3 really surly musicians. I don't know if you've ever met a surly musician, have you, Jason?
Surly musicians?
Never!
Stuff and nonsense.
What it was is that these musicians felt they were playing down to our music. They were much above this. Of course, I was paying them. Anyway, so the rehearsal went okay, but there's a lot. The band was surly, and Joe and I are not getting along. And so we do the rehearsal, and then my manager, Roger, comes up to us after the show. He said, well, you sounded okay. He said, but the show's too short. You need at least one more song. And I went, well, I can't do another cover of another artist. We're already doing 2. And back then at the Troubadour, you were showcasing your songwriting abilities. So I turned to Lovener and I said, well, we're going to have to write another song. He said, okay. And I had this idea in my head, and I went home, wrote all the lyrics, and I said, but this time, I used to just give him the lyrics, and he would just write the song at his leisure. I said, but I'm going to come over, we're going to write it together. So I went over to his house, and we sat down, and we punched the song out in about 45 minutes. And then we show up for the Troubadour, and there's the surly band, and on the song list, it has this song, and one of the surly musicians, sorry, we don't know that one. And I went, of course you don't know that one. I wrote it last week, and Joe and I are going to do it on the piano. You're not involved. And so we did the song. It went over very well. And so we're going off stage, and one of the surly musicians, his name was Tim Torrance, he was the guitar player, and he said, you know, you should write more songs like that instead of the crap that we're playing. And I went, hey, idiot, I wrote that song. Here's your money. Go. And shortly after that, Joe and I broke up. And so we never performed the song again, and we never had time to record it. And it's been hidden in my piano bench for 40 years. And then Jason and I sort of resurrected this thing from the dead. And I'd like to do it for you. The last but not least, an Art Nordoff and Joe Lumner song. It's called No One to Believe It. thought it over carefully, made your mind up for yourself. It came as really no surprise when you found he loved someone else. And so you packed your bags and you said goodbye, gonna start all over somehow. But it's late at night and you're all alone, thinking, what will you do now that there's no one to believe in, nobody you can trust? And though you give him all you've got, it never is enough. And everybody you know is saying that you will never learn, that there's no one to believe in anymore. Seems like only yesterday, but it was many years ago. Everyone was happy then, at least they told us so. But the times have changed, you're much older now, as the years go flying by. And the pages now seem so absurd, while the answer makes you cry. Why, there's no one to believe in, nobody you can trust. And though you give him all you've got, it never is enough. And everybody you know is saying that you will never learn, that there's no one to believe in anymore. Not bad for a song 42 years old. What do you think?
Not bad.
Not bad. I dust them off and reuse them. So finally, my South American, my trip to Rio came to an end. We had to go home. We had to go back. Now, my friend who orchestrated this is Nilo. He's an American airline flight attendant, but I stayed at his big hacienda in Maracá, which is this huge house with a swimming pool and a guest house, and we're a block and a half from the ocean. It was just wonderful. And when in the little town of in Maracá by the beach, you go to lunch at 1 o'clock and it'd be 4 hours. If you went to dinner, it was like another 4. People are in no hurry there. And I just found it to be just a marvelous place. And we were far away from the COVID and everything. People wore masks and were careful, but it was just a great. I got tested going in and I got tested going out, and I'm vaccinated, so I didn't get COVID. So we flew from Rio, business class, back to Miami, and then I flew with Nilo back to New York City because he was going back to work on Saturday. We left on Friday night, we got back on Saturday. So he went to work and I went in to Manhattan and to New York City and I had a madcap Manhattan weekend. To be honest, Manhattan is coming back, but it's busy, but not really crowded or insane like it usually is. And but it was sad because there's so many closed businesses and restaurants that are boarded up and gone. And then I walked over to Times Square and all the theaters are closed. It was kind of depressing. But on Saturday night I went down to the Village, I got drunk and ate at this great Italian restaurant. And on Sunday I went to the little Irish pub that was next to it, and it was really a great, you can't have a bad time in New York. And New York reminds me, the sound of New York to me is Frank Sinatra, not so much that song, just everything is Frank Sinatra. I think of him, going to the 21 and smoking and drinking with Dean Martin, and I walked by the old Copa, the old Copacabana, it's still there. It's not open, but it's still there. And I can imagine Frank and a cigarette and a Jack Daniels in his hand. Just New York reminds me of Sinatra. And this is one of my favorite Frank Sinatra songs. Now, we're going to do the acoustic version of this, only because Les Brown and the Band of Renown were not available. Now, Les and I are very close. Wait a minute, Jason, is Les Brown still alive?
I don't believe he is.
Oh, okay. Well, Les Brown and I were very close, and they were not available, so we're just going to wing it with this little acoustic version of
Verision.
Summer Wind. The summer wind blowing in from across the sea. It lingered there, touched your hair, and walked with me. All summer long, we sang a song and strolled that golden sea. Two sweethearts and the summer wind, like painted kites, those days and nights went flying by. The world was new beneath the blue umbrella sky. Then softer than a piper man, one day it called to you. I lost you. I lost you to the summer wind. Oh yeah. Well, they got a wind, and the winter wind, they have come and gone. And still those days, those lonely days, they go on and on. And guess who sighs his lullabies through nights that never end? My fickle friend, the summer wind, warm summer wind. Oh, the summer wind, the summer wind. My apologies to Frank and the entire Sinatra family. Wow. Wow. Time sure flies when you're messing up all the lines. First of all, I want to thank all of you. I want first of all give it up to Jason Berk. Come on. Oh, yes. Jason and I have been working together, what, 3 years now?
Yeah, I think 3 years.
You know, Jason and I are the reason the Democrats took control of the Congress in 2018.
Blue Wave.
Blue Wave, baby. We wrote a song called Blue Wave. It was picked up by this California organization called Flip the 14 Republican seats, and it went all over the country. And the best part was, Jason and I wrote it, and we were not allowed to make any money because the only way they would play it is if I donated it to them. You know, Nordoff and money, it just wasn't right. But we did, I think we were vastly responsible, don't you?
I think so.
So I want to thank, first of all, let's go ahead and thank Bill behind the camera. He directs all of these things, and I want to thank him. My cat, Chloe, again, has not made an appearance, but, and thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. I know you got better things to do on a Monday night than listen to my nonsense. So thank you. So I had my Madcap Manhattan weekend, and I woke up on Monday morning in Midtown Manhattan, knowing I had a plane at JFK at 2. And then it finally dawned on me that my adventure was over. Rio and New York, I had to go back to Los Angeles. But then I thought it really was time to go home, you know? And so I got out of bed and I started thinking, and I started dreaming about home. So I got out of bed and I clicked my heels together. The only song that came to mind was this one. and the sky was gray. I went for a walk on a winter's day. I'd be safe and warm if I was in LA. California dreaming on such a winter day. Stopped into a church I passed along the way. Oh, I got down on my knees and I began to pray. Whoa. Today, California dreaming on such a winter's day. Play, Jason. And the sky was gray. I went for a walk on a winter's day. If I didn't ever, I'd be warm in LA. California dreaming on such a winter's day. On such a winter's day, on such a winter's day. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody. And Bill, turn off the camera.